Hello there, it's Jonathan at the Piano Lesson. Happy New Year to everyone and all. And real excited about our lesson today. Kind of the reason why I love to teach and love to play the piano, because I learn new things. So is this a new thing? Well, it is a new thing and it's an old thing. But it's an old thing, but with perspective. That's what you get, hopefully, when you stick to something for a long time. You get some perspective and you start to realize how important certain things are. And one of those things is a very unusual chord pattern. I think it's unusual. It's a 2-5-1, but the 2-5-1 in this instance, it's a minor 2-5, and then it ends on a major. So minor, let's just say A minor 7 flat 5, D7 flat 9. The flat 5 becomes the flat 9. It's the same note. And that would be the E flat. And then G major 7. Typically, that chord progression would go to G minor because it's in a minor key. Now, when do you encounter that? Well, one place you encounter that is in All the Things You Are, written by Jerome Kern, which is a song that kind of every musician should know. Why? Why should every musician know that? Well, every musician doesn't have to know that. But if you love music, it would certainly behoove you to learn it, because it's a brilliant piece of music. But that was the chord pattern in the bridge. Now, the most interesting thing is that chord pattern is reiterated, it's transposed, and it's transposed down a minor third. That's very interesting. Very few songs do that kind of thing. And then I thought, well, shouldn't we learn that pattern? You know, it would be a lot of fun. We'd become better piano players. And then we'd also be aware of when that happens again in other songs. And I'll talk about a few other songs that move by thirds. Sometimes major thirds, sometimes minor thirds, sometimes by going up or down. But that's just a really great pattern to know. And there's also, I'll address, there were a couple of the questions that we had in the comments from our last lesson. And I'll talk about that too. But yeah, let's kind of look at that. So, in All the Things You Are, we have so A minor 7 flat 5, D7 flat 9, G major 7, and then it goes F sharp minor 7 flat 5, B7 flat 9, that's a flat 9, E major 7. So there's your pattern. And then it's just such a wonderful relationship. Now, following that pattern, well, what would be the next key that would be going to? Well, we started on G rather. We went to E. The next down a minor third would be C sharp. So we would be playing E minor 7 flat 5. And the melody starts on the fifth of the key that we're in. Excuse me. What are we doing here? And then we'd have E flat minor 7 flat 5. And then what key would we go to next? Well, we'd go to down a minor third, B flat, key of B flat. So we'd start at C minor 7 flat 5, and then major right? So what does that form? That forms a diminished chord. Moving through 4 keys. And then we're back to the G again. So let's just do that again. Starting on the 3rd. And then great pattern to learn, all right? Do that one more time. The melody is that. So the melody is okay? And then what do we got? Excuse me. There we go. It's a bit of a different reach with the black keys. And then as we're going to the B flat minor. So the melody is this. And the melody is this. Then the melody is this. Right, so we're going down a whole step and then a half step. Interesting, isn't it? We end it back up on the D. Whole, half, whole, half, whole, half, whole, half. And what was the, we can keep doing that. Whole, half. Isn't that a nice scale? It's like just like a really nice scale to practice. These are some of the things that, let me write that out. D, C, B, A, G sharp, and then I'm going to spell that as G flat. Yeah, I'll spell it as, well, I don't know. Let me spell it as just let's see how it works out if I spell it as F sharp. F sharp. Let's see where that takes me. E sharp. I have to do, because that would be C sharp major. E sharp. And then I would have to play, I think I'll change to E flat here at least. E flat and then D. So we're back to where we started. D, C, B, A, G sharp, F sharp, which is also G flat, and E sharp, which is also F, however you like, and then E flat, and then D. Okay. Pretty interesting little scale that we made there, kind of inspired by Jerome Kern. Isn't that interesting? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You end up on the 9th. Now, I guess that's kind of in keeping with the Barry Harris idea, because Barry Harris ends up putting an extra note in for rhythmic purposes and also for harmonic purposes. But could even cut out a chord. You know, I have minor 7 flat 5 to D, 2, 5, 2, 5, 1. But I could also just go 5, 1. I could just do 5. 5, 1. I could just cut out the 2 chord if I want. So A minor 7 flat 5, D7 flat 9, G major 7, right? So that's like kind of like the first little bit, and then that becomes the F sharp minor 7 flat 5, B7 flat 9, E major 7, right? And then this kind of becomes the G sharp kind of becomes A flat. So that's E flat minor 7 flat 5, A flat, G flat, A flat 7 flat 9, and then D flat major 7. That's the F. And then we're kind of, and then the F, the E sharp of the F, right? The F becomes C minor 7 flat 5, F7, B flat major 7. Right, so we got one set of two. There's our 2 5. There's our 2 5. There's our 2 5, and there's our 2 5. That's 4 keys that form a diminished chord. So if we've done it in 4 keys, that means that there's 8 more keys to do. So we could do it on those, and then we could do it on these, and then we'll be back kind of where we started. But that's kind of the point. Isn't that interesting? And then we're back to where we started. So what exactly am I going to do with that? I don't know. But I think it would kind of expand my horizons a little bit. And I think it would maybe kind of pick up with where Jerome Kern left off. So that relationship, though, of modulating to another key, a minor third lower, and doing somewhat of what we'd call a deceptive cadence. Why is it a deceptive cadence? Well, because it sounds as if we're going into a minor key when it's really a major key. Usually we don't think of deceptive cadences. We think of a deceptive cadence as not even necessarily relating to the tonic at all of where we're going. But in this instance, you know, we end up in the tonic. But there are some other tunes that's sort of useful. So what might that be? Well, certainly Giant Steps, which is actually a tune I'm not particularly that enamored of, and I think neither was Barry Harris. But the reason being that if you approach it in a conventional way, I don't think it'll yield as much as if you look at it in other ways, which I've discussed in kind of past lessons. But the point of Giant Steps is upper minor third down a fifth, upper minor third down a fifth, upper minor third down a fifth. That's the upper minor third down a fifth, upper minor third down a fifth. B 5 of G, 5 of E flat. So we went from B, G. It forms a augmented chord. That's kind of interesting too, and it sort of stretches the bounds of our ears, you know. Another place that you encounter minor 2 5s, you know, again, are in minor keys. You know. And then it goes to major. So that's where you'd expect it more. That would be sort of interesting to experiment with. Another tune, let's see if I can remember it. Have You Met Miss Jones? Bridge. So it goes from the key of F to the key of B flat. That's very common. Typically, harmonies move by fourths and fifths. Right? 2 5 1 2 5 1 2 5 1 2 5 1. We're going from, you know, D, G, C, up a fourth, down a fifth, or you can go the other way, of course. You can go down a fifth, up a fourth. That's typically how music operates. Or usually it operates by step, half or whole, or combinations, right? But that's usually how harmonies move. So the bridge is, and all at once I lost my breath, and all at once, G flat, was scared to death, and all at D at once I owned the earth, and I used to fight 5, and the sky. Now that's a really interesting moment in music, if you don't know that song. But the bridge, 2 5 1 to B flat, then 2 5 1 to G flat. So we're in B flat, G flat, and then D. We're moving all by major thirds in that instance. In the other instance, we're moving by minor thirds. Okay, but here we're moving by major thirds. And then he goes back up, and then in the sky, and then he goes from the G flat back to F, up a half step. So that's an interesting little bit. So you have those kind of 3 examples of harmonies moving by third. How did he erase that? How can he erase it? Don't erase that. Well, you know, what the heck. But oh, there we go. Yeah, we're going to C minor 7, F7, B flat. Then it was A flat minor 7, D flat 7, G flat major 7. Then it was E minor 7. Should be consistent with my symbols, shouldn't I? What did I write here? I'm going to do that minor. It's a little less confusing with my awful handwriting. E minor 7, A7, D major 7. So that would be a good pattern to learn. And if I went down another major third, well, I'd end up back on the B flat. So I can only do that in 3 keys, and then I'd have to transpose that, do those 3 keys, then these 3 keys, then these 3 keys. What was I doing here? Let's just do that again. B flat, G flat, right? Yeah. So that's 1 key, 2, These are all potentially augmented chords. 3 and then 4, right? Those are all augmented. Because 3 times 4 is 12. 12 keys, right? So that was this. If I went, I don't know. I could go down. I could do that. I suppose. So, key of A, then key of F, then key of D flat. So, why would you want to do that? Because it sounds cool. It's just kind of fresh. It's a fresh sound, And I remember for years trying to learn, when I was a kid, trying to learn Have You Met Miss Jones, and it never really made sense to me. I mean, there's a lot of, because of these, unconventional qualities about the song. It was just very, very different. But that's what makes the song beautiful. And then after some years, you come back to them and you're like, you know what, that was a good song. How did he do that? Why did he do that? And then you try to say, well, if he did it there, did anyone else do it somewhere else? Again, and then what we just talked about, the Coltrane changes. But B, D7, G, B flat 7, E flat. That's kind of the pattern, right? So your B, D, G, B flat, E flat. And if you're following that, that's also a augmented chord, just like we hadn't had Have You Met Miss Jones. But what's really different? It's interesting. I'm just kind of realizing what's really different. Well, the difference is that we're not hearing the 2 chord, right? We're not hearing this would be an A minor 7 in here, right? And then this would be over here. This would be F minor 7, right? Over here. Okay. So if we're in B. That's kind of what's happening. F sharp minor 7. That appears. F sharp 7. See, F sharp 7, B. We hear that later on in the piece, but really it's. Let's see. Yeah. Then 2-5-1. We get the 2-5-1 later on in the song. Going up. C sharp minor 7, F sharp 7, right? That's the 2-5 there. That's a 2-5. That's your 2-5. And then from B, he goes back up. The keys. Was it right? Going up this time. We started down without the 2 chord, and then we went up with the 2 chord. That's the main difference. Now, for the couple other questions we have before we're kind of running out of time, but that ending I mentioned, I'll try to do a better job on explaining it. But if you want to have an easy, kind of a standard, easy, quick ending for something, say you're in the key of C, Okay, you start a tritone above the key that you're in. So if you're in the key of C, right, you start on that F sharp diminished. I'm playing these real simple chords. Right, so F sharp diminished, F minor, C in first inversion, E flat diminished, and you again there are options here, but we're just we're looking at the chromatic bass. D minor 7, D flat 7, C major 7. That's just one possibility, but it's this bass, this chromatic bass, and you can track harmonies to that. And as far as upper triads, what we call upper triads, well, you know, C7, if you add a if you build another chord starting on the B flat, I mean, you know, well, that's a B flat triad, right? That's the 9th and the 11th. If you skip again, you know, and add this D minor triad above the C, that's the 9th, 11th, and 13th. The thing about that is that we really don't voice the chord in that way typically. It doesn't function that well. And so I'll try to spend some time on that. But, you know, I did make some videos on, there's really kind of two standard ways to voice chords with what we call extensions. So 9ths, 13ths, anything above the octave would be an extension. And they're this style and this. And I have videos on that. So I'm going to run. But anyway, pleasure as always, and hope to hear from you again. And this is Jonathan at The Piano Lesson, and you can send me a message if you need to at thepianolesson.com. And hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.